Update 4 of Satisfactory is arriving on the experimental branch on March 16th, which means it's the perfect time to prepare your game for everything to change. This new update is going to change a few things, and we don't even know what they all are yet, or what the exact changes are going to be. But today, we're going through some of the best ways you can spend your time in Satisfactory as you wait for the upcoming new content. And if you liked the video, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss all of our Update 4 coverage and tips. We just passed 1,000 subscribers, so join the club. Prepare for nuclear, but don't build it yet. If you've been planning on attempting nuclear power, you shouldn't do it right now. We've made 2 videos on it already because it keeps changing, and it's going through more changes in Update 4. It's unclear how much the recipes are changing though. Currently, we know that nuclear fuel rods will have a different recipe and utilize the new building, the blender. So with that in mind, it wouldn't be the worst idea to gather the raw materials you would need to get nuclear currently, set up production of some basic items like stators, and plan out a large area dedicated to getting irradiated. This will have you ready for what is hopefully the last major adjustment to nuclear power. Speaking of which, you'll probably also need to save some space to process nuclear waste. With the new blender machine, we should be able to create a new item with nuclear waste. You could also route your waste to a different location on the map for processing. Either way, leave room for it. Don't invest in high-tier production lines. Tier 7 and 8 items are getting an overhaul. We know that turbo motors are moving from Tier 7 to Tier 8, although it does not seem like the recipe will change. Supercomputers and radio control units will also have new recipes. Aluminum is a complicated beast, so that's going to change and become more simplified in Update 4, particularly when it comes to the use of refineries. These updates will likely be great balancing for these high-tier items, but it also means you shouldn't invest in them right now. If you already have a setup for these high-tier items, you should stockpile the items right now so you can unlock space elevator tiers, and be ready to tear down your current factories when the update hits. It's likely that your current setup will be greatly impacted, so don't get too attached to it. Streamline your power system. We know that power updates are coming, and the introduction of power switches is huge. This is a great opportunity to take a look at your power structure, and by that I mean the network of cables that power your factory. If you want to use the switches to their greatest potential, you should segment each of your individual factory sections so that a single power cable powers the entire thing, and removing that power cable would shut down the factory without affecting everything else in your game. You should do this because it's effectively what the power switch will do. Now granted, you only need this on factory sections you may want to turn off temporarily. If you have any of those, such as dedicated areas for making space elevator parts, take this time to make room for a power switch. If your power lines are a mess of spaghetti, you're going to have a real hard time making these power switches work. Make sure your current power system works at full capacity. One of the biggest changes coming to power in Update 4 is that power-producing buildings will operate at their full capacity at all times. This means that a single coal generator capable of producing 75 megawatts will always produce 75 megawatts regardless of whether your factory is asking for that much power, and it will use all of the resources it needs to do that. So, as we wait for Update 4, this is a great time to assess your power generators and make sure they're getting the resources they need to operate at full capacity. We've covered in the past how to make a perfectly efficient coal generator setup that gets all the water it needs, and that's going to be important. Be sure that each coal generator is able to get the 45 water per minute that it needs, or you're gonna have a bad time in Update 4. Make sure you have hard drives. If you're a dedicated Satisfactory player, you may have already discovered every alternate recipe in the game. But it might be helpful to have some unscanned hard drives on hand, such as the ones that can be found with items from the Fixmas Advent Calendar. That way, when the new update comes out, you can scan the hard drives and unlock any new alternate recipes before committing to building a factory for a new item. Take some time to seek out hard drives that you haven't gathered yet. Start over. Since Update 4 is going to mostly affect the high tiers, it's not unreasonable to spend these next couple weeks starting a new game all the way up to Tier 6. Tier 7 and 8 will be affected the most, so unlocking up to Tier 6 will get you close enough to the new content that you can experience it as it was meant to be experienced for the first time. Thanks so much for watching everyone, and make sure to like and subscribe for more Satisfactory Update 4 content, and leave a comment down below with any tips we may have forgotten. See you all in the next one when we dive into all the new stuff in Update 4.